Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today's the flip through of the Shabby Grunge Dump Journal. And I have the cover right here. You can see this distinguished looking fellow. He is one of the portrait dolls. In the background is one of the sheets that had numbers on it in the vellum, the Tim Holtz vellum. I have a bit of really grungy ribbon dyed right there and a little piece of collage paper underneath of it, like this is him, H.J. Jones. He raises chrysanthemums, which is what this little bit right here is supposed to be. And I have one of my clear, what do you call that, stays on stamps right there with a little guy. Looks like he's holding his umbrella. And on the back side, it's just like this. I did one of the other stays on clear stamps that I'd made. A little bit of ribbon here just to kind of cut that, part off. And as you can see, this was Amazon mailing on the outside. This was going to be an inside flap or pocket at one point, but it turned into something else. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming to visit and spending some time with me today and seeing how this little book came together. It was such a joy to do. Now, I ended up having to do, because it's about to bust open, I had to do Velcro. I wish I had black Velcro, but I didn't. But this is just going to be a little book for me. I just enjoyed doing it. As you can see, I really grunged up the papers. This didn't get grunged as much. But this is the inside flap, and we have this big, it was one of those cabinet cards that Jody Martin sent me. A good bit of the cards in here, there should be about 6 or 7, are what Jody sent me. And I took just pieces and parts of all these different laces that I had. I did some die cuts, as you can see. I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit more. And so you can see up close and personal everything that got done to these. There's a bit of gift tissue paper behind there. This was supposed to be like, it was going to be a pocket, then it was going to be a flip out, and then it was going to wrap around the book, but it became just so big, I had to add this extra strong Velcro. But we have little pieces and parts of all kinds of stuff kind of around here, and more gift tissue, some ripped lace, some pieces of lace, some more Tim Holtz ephemera, another die cut with a button in there. And then over here is just little pieces and parts. This is not a pocket of any sort. I did have some more of the burlap pieces that Jody also sent me that day. This is from one of my Tim Holtz books. And this little piece of building back here was from another paper pad altogether. I have some lace here. I try to put a little lace on every page. As you'll see, there's a little gold, there's a little lace, there's the old pictures, there's the sepia tones, browns on all the pages to try to hold them all together. Okay, over here we have, and then after I get past this point, I can actually tuck that in to get it out of the way. But we have this guy here that's I thought he looked like a flyer. So these pieces came out of one of the papers from the paper pads. I can't remember which one. A stamped destination. I heat embossed Hope is Never Lost, because there was lost is behind him and found is over here on that stencil. And one of the early videos, you'll see me doing the stencil on here, and you'll be able to see that get put down. I did a little script stamp back there, another little stamp. So I try to keep like the propeller blades. That's what I thought this looked like. Oh, okay. This was left over from my Halloween pack, so I framed the little baby and put a strip behind here and a couple of doilies and a little bit of heart trim and one of those stays on clear stamps and, vellum. It's just got a little bit of everything, to tell you the truth. And I like that you can see further back like forward or backward. You could see the pieces that sometime hung over like that. I really like that. Now this is a pocket. Let me see if I can find a little bit of something to show you places that may have pockets. It's not many. Like that's one right there. And that's some of that little scrap that I had left over. This was from a snippet roll. I never really do them, but that was one that I tried. And I did it out of map paper. And that's a little bit of lace on that page. It's about the only lace over here. This guy, I figured he looks like a gamester. But he also has traveling bags and trunks and things. And he's got a bingo card behind him. I like these 3 buttons up here. Really, they're on a piece of washi, a gold or bronze washi. And they came out really well. I stamped this guy little finger here, but it landed on top of one of the dots, and the dots kept the it kept the hand. It has a circle in it now. That was kind of weird. This is also a pocket right here. It was a bag of some sort that somebody gave me, probably paper crafting with Miss Tommy. Here's another bag that I stuck on the back of here because I rearranged this page. If you go back and see me making this photographic page, you'll see I had another lady over here on the side. Well, I was taking pages out because it was getting so fat that she got shunted to the back. So I had to put something on this little page here. So I put this couple in another one of the frames that was left over from Halloween. A little bit of trim and a few stamps and gewgaws. And of course the photographic guy. He has no lace whatsoever, but that's okay. He kind of holds his own. He does have a pocket. And one of these photographic studio cards is inside of it. And that just goes in here. That's probably what he hands out to people he's wanting to sell his wares and skills to. Now, I have a little bit of, what was this? This was some of that collage paper back here. And one of the stays on kind of clear stickers that had photographic or something on it. You can't see it. Oh, man. I wish that had shown so well. Now this film strip, you can see all of this in the video on how I did all that. This is one of my last ladies that I made in the makes. And people are always talking about odd numbers. They got to have odd numbers for everything they do. And luckily I had 5 pearls. I didn't realize it. It's got 5 petals, 5 pearls, 3 beads on each leaf, 3 leaves. Oh man. That ought to make them happy, whoever watches this. But yeah, I really enjoyed this page. This is some really wide lace I've had forever. I still got a little bit of it, but I wanted to put that down here. I've got my boot buttons, little advertisement behind her. I really like that. It's a little crooked. I know everybody was probably shouting at me. At the time, I didn't realize it was crooked. This is also a pocket right here, where the altered paper clip is hooked down into, which that could be taken and put somewhere else. I always found that it was probably the paper clip was going to be in a spot I didn't want it to be. And so, yeah. And I never opened this other end of this bag, so it just stayed closed. So I needed another pocket, so that's why that became what it was. Here was this one with, it's got laces and this piece of gold thread or ribbon or something that I had, and I've been wanting to use it forever, so it worked right in. There's a little bit of stamping back here, but it looks like half of it got disappeared. That's all right. All right. So here we have a flip out. It's a beautiful lady. I always loved her. She was so pretty. I have Fleur de Froment, you know me and my pronunciations. I actually covered up some of my little stamp that I put back there, but oh well. And this is some of that rare upon rare lace. I cannot figure out where that came from. I doubt if it's even in circulation anymore. Here we have another one of the cabinet cards with a bunch of lace around them and under them. It's got Life of... I guess it was supposed to be in the front of a book somewhere. This here is an envelope which has its own little cluster over here. Some of the Tim Holtz vellum and a old stamp that I did and something from a piece of paper. That was from Marta, if anybody watches her. This was an identification card that I did that you can also write on. So I thought with her and her picture, she looks like she went into the same time period as the rest of these people. So then you flip that and you have the married couple. And they have a doily behind them. I started using doilies in here. Of course, there's one here and on here. So I figured that would give the lace look. But I did put them a little heart lace and one of the little flowers over here. It's got a little vellum behind it, little music page, and a die cut and a ephemera. This also is a pocket on this edge right here. So you can put a little bit of something there. Plus, if you go inside, you have a big journal card that was from one of the backgrounds. It's one of those tall, thin papers that you can get in his type of things. So I've got a little button and some pearls. Those also came into play a lot, the pearls. I try to get them in here, a little bit of here and there. And then here's my big butterfly. This is collage paper by Tim Holtz, and I never did use this envelope for anything, and the only thing I added was that. And I glued it to a paper bag, which is the bag beside it here. And that's what this hides. This is actually on that paper bag. So that's how it's attached to each other. Here's a picture from one of the Tim Holtz books, and I had some excess from another piece I added or did for something else, and I added that around here as a frame. And I thought they looked like a bank, so I have National City Bank on there. They have a little lace as well. Some more from the book, another paper pad, the washi, as you can see, shining over here. These were from a backdrop. I have a few of those through here as well. And I cut them up to have them be used as singles. And more of that little... I cut this off of a big piece. It's the piece with the leaves and stuff. And this was a loose girl. And she was... All right. I thought I had cat fighting out there. She was also from Jody, and I never did get her on anything, so I just decided to stick her in a pocket. And a little gewgaws and stuff all around here to decorate up the page. And then in the background, you can see where I did gesso it. There were some of these bags that were actually fast food bags, so I gessoed. And it kind of added to the look. I also sprayed them, or tried to. This lady over here is got a little bit of something in her hair. Let me get it out. But she's got some of that pretty lace that was my mother's in behind her. Some of the gift wrap, a button. This was actually on the lace, and a stamp, and one of the stays on clear things. And then I put this down here to finish off her base. Then over here, this is one of the paper bags. I think this was a pharmacy bag that was in there. And I had to do both sides of it with gesso to try to get the words off of it. I have the antique stamped back here, an old clock, R for radio, music in case it played music. And then you can actually get into the bag. It does have stamping on it, but it's very hard to see the stamping at this point. But you'll see it in the video. Here we have a gentleman who is like a watchmaker. And he, of course, has one of the big numbers and a big old clock. And a little bit of lace behind him. This group of guys, I actually cut off the people above him, or them, because I thought it was just too tall. And I just put a bunch of stuff around them. They're also on one of the big rectangular doilies. Got that from Paper Crafting with Miss Tommy as well. And over here, this lady I figured she liked to listen to music. And so this is the only bit of color in this whole book where you can see, am I off the page? Good grief, I think I was off the page part of this. Well, anyway, I'll just flip through them real quick so you can see what I can see. I'll rewatch this and probably kick myself. So, yeah, there we go. Back to where we was at. So he's my favorite guy. He was the very first one I did with all the different pieces and parts. That's Notre Dame. I've got Paris here. You can see a sort of a stamp behind there. This is linen collars and cuffs. And then I used some of that really fancy trim. Somebody just sent that to me. I don't know if that was Jody or somebody else sent me this lace. And there's some washi tape. And this lady, like I said, she's got the only pop of color, which is that orange. And I figured she was somebody that liked to write letters to some people. This is also a pocket. It's kind of a tight pocket, but it's right there. And I kept working with this stamp, and I could never get it to work quite the way I wanted it to. So I ended up putting that little heart from that lace on here to cover it all up. I just got tired of putting stuff on there and it wasn't working. You have those days too, don't you? All right, and this guy, he is a pocket. And then you flip it to the back side, and we got the laundry lady. I had stamped laundry on here, but I had done it right after I had did a burlap stencil. And you know how I'm always forgetting. I forgot that the gold was going to stick to the burlap and all the rest of that. So everything turned gold. So you couldn't even read laundry. So then I went back over it after it had dried, and I did black over top of it, and it worked great. So it's a double stamping of Heat and Boss. So I really liked how that turned out. And then, of course, she's got a little bit of that trim. I put a measuring ruler, although it says oil joints on there. But I thought that worked. And I like where you can see behind her, too. This lady is the one that used to be on the photographic page. And I cut her, and she's actually over on this side. She does have a working pocket, which I made with an extra page that I pulled out where you can write on it. I did a stamp of this dressmaker, the messy thread, and this sewing machine kind of a stamp is on there. And I really like this page, the way it turned out. It was one of the Rolodex cards. And there we go. It will slide back in there. Yeah, I have the Rolodex card over here with the ribbon tied on it. But yeah, I really like how, and I never did really add any more of the sayings in here. I don't guess I thought it really needed it. Now here's another pocket that is a pink Monarch Prince pocket. And I made that up and stuck on here. It's kind of a layer. It was in the last items that I did for the book. So you can see how I created it on there. And then we have the old guy that sells the cars, and he's got a little vellum underneath of him. And I did that I did that same stencil on quite a few pages in here. I really like it. We have another pocket back here, and it's also one of the, I guess, the last pages that I did do. It was the very last page I decorated. So it's got all kinds of stuff here. This pocket was supposed to be this way. Of course, I messed it up in the video, and you'll see how I fixed it. This here has the general store stamp. That's Lorna Tailor-Made Journals. That's one of her stamps. This is a pocket here that I did show at the very beginning, and that's actually ended up being a pocket. Here's some of that brown and gold die cut that I just did not like the look of that. And so other ones I turned around so it was only brown. But you'll see little pieces, trims, gift wrap, scrap. All kinds of stuff on here. That was another one of those little stays on stamps. And that's all she wrote. That's how it turned out for me. I really liked how I enjoyed working with this little book, and I hope you got some ideas from it. I know there's a lot of you that did say you liked grunge, so I hope that gave you some ideas on how you could blend your grunge with your scraps of lace that you may have and be able to create a little book like this. Just stick with a certain color and certain points of interest to tie the whole thing together, and that's all you need to do. Well, thank you, everybody, all my subscribers and viewers. I appreciate you coming by to visit, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye. Okay, if you're still here, I was going to show you these that I made the other day, the specimen book page pockets, and these are how they turned out. This has some extra stamps on it that I didn't have the other day. I got all my little gewgaws. I put another stamp down here. So I thought I would just show them to you real quick and let you see how they turned out. And of course, each one of them is a pocket. And it's going to be glued down all the way or just like on 3 sides, whichever way you want to do it. But yeah, that's how they turned out. I really liked how they worked. They're a very simple pocket, but you can add or subtract anything that I did to it. That's the very original one. That is a specimen slide. Some of them are specimen and some are specimen slide pockets. So here's another one of the, and I added some extra stamps too, like right there. Here's one that's got the registrar, and I got the little pieces. Some of these we did on, but we didn't do the pink ones. So here's how the pink, and I added that little bit of washi, and you'll see it in other ones that I just did. I tried to use that washi up, and I did. It's a little script stamp. It's not very much of anything, but it really covered up that split, and it gave it a base for a few other things to be on there. So I really like how that looked. Now see, I didn't use it on this one at all, but I did make this one a slide. So I had 2 or 3 of them that were slides, and I can't remember. After I put the words in the top corner, like I did here, I couldn't do any more in a slide. Now, I could have done that one, but I already had the 1871 up there, so I just gave it up. So, all right, I just wanted to let you have a look-see of those and maybe get to making them and figuring out how I finished them off and that kind of thing. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.